I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone, eating up these pigs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host today, Matthew Briggs. We got a special guest in the building, but before I introduce him, I got my A1 since day one, Mr. Crenshaw. Say what's up to the folks. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good on my end.
It's sounding choppy.
Well, how about now? Is it better? Crenshaw, can you hear me now?
It's choppy. It's screwed and chopped.
Huh.
Hold on.
Let me check the.
Hold on.
Sorry, technical difficulties right now. Let me check that.
Am I
Sorry
good?
about that. Yeah, you're good. I guess it was on his end.
Okay.
So that's,
Hey, I love it though. I'm here for it, man. It's y'all's world.
That's the bad thing about technology, man. It just sometimes won't work,
Man.
sometimes it doesn't.
Nah, it's without fail, it's gonna not work when you need it.
I know, right? I'm in there. I can hear you.
Okay. All right, well, let's start that over. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Texan Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host today, Matthew Briggs. I got a special guest in the building, but before I introduce you, I got my co-host, my A1 since day one, Mr. Crenshaw. Say what's up to the folks.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
And like I said, we have a special guest. We got the candidate for the 14th district court judge. We got Mr. Darrell Rogers. He's a prosecutor of the 180th court. So, how's it going, Mr. Rogers? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm just excited to be here. Hopefully, I want to talk about the campaign, but hopefully talk something a little sports too. It'd be nice, a good change up. So I'm just happy to be here. I appreciate it.
Well, we're happy to have you on here, and you came to the right place to talk sports. Let's get to it. Super Bowl. Start with you, Mr. Rogers. How did you like it?
I enjoyed, man. This whole postseason has been pretty exciting, man. With the overtime games, the Super Bowl. I thought maybe there was a chance there to maybe get some extra time, but it was good. I know a lot of people talking about some of the referee, but that's part of the game. And so like they always say, if you don't want the referees to decide the game, then make sure you're in a position where the referees don't get that say.
Couldn't say it better. Crenshaw, what about you? What do you thought about it?
I thought the game was good. I thought the Rams was going to run away with it, and then the Bengals, made their little comeback. Like you said, the refs at the end of the game, it looked kind of fishy, but the refs let stuff go on the Bengals side as well. Like the Higgins touchdown. Overall, it was a good game. I love the halftime. Halftime was great. That was good for hip hop, good for the culture and everything. But overall, great game, great postseason. I can't wait for next year.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is like the first Super Bowl where it didn't matter to me who won. The Rams could have won it for Matt Stafford and everybody. I mean, you cannot not hate Joe Burrow. Like he's just a good guy, So either way,
he's that dude, man. He's that dude.
Oh yeah, I mean, just his personality makes you like him. So it was a good day, and I'm glad you brought up the halftime. What a halftime show! I mean, you had some legends in the building. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, 50, Mary, which I think she's very underrated. Mary J. Blige blew it off. I thought hers was the best performance. Mr. Rogers, what do you thought of the halftime show? Were you a fan?
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, I mean, that's what I grew up on, right? Like Snoop and Dre. And then you had a little bit of past, a little bit of the present with Kendrick and everything. And so, I mean, that's what I was there for. I don't need all the extra performance, like the dancing and the costume changes, that you oftentimes get. That's cool and all. That's not me. And so just songs that I knew that I grew up with, nostalgia, my childhood and everything like that, in between a good first half, I was all there for it. I knew every song, singing, everything like that. And you had to mix, you had to rap, and you had Mary J. So I thought, well done on the NFL part. They don't get everything right, but they did. They got that right.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Chris, I kind of touched on it, but give us some more in depth. What do you think about it? Of that
This, like you said, he knew every song, and this is the first time you probably could say since maybe Beyonce performed that you knew every song. You wasn't bored. You wasn't like, okay, it's halftime. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do that. You actually stayed and watched halftime, and that's what made it a great halftime. Kendrick, I mean, with the Golden Lords, man, Meteor Man, it's a movie I grew up on as well. So it was, oh man, it was great. It was awesome, man. Hope they do it, quite often, maybe every other year,
Yeah,
And it was, to me, I had goosebumps when Dr. Dre started playing. I Ain't Mad at You by Tupac, and Eminem took a knee.
Were you hoping for the hologram? Were you hoping for the hologram? Because I was.
I was hoping. I was hoping, but I know people own the rights to his hologram, and I know they probably weren't going to let it go. But when he came out with California Love, I was like, all right, if Tupac's going to be here, this is the song for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to have a Tupac and a Nipsey hologram.
Yeah.
That would have been a good look. I mean, they in California.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bo played a big role in that culture down there, so I've been okay with either one,
Yeah.
So
it could have easy,
Yeah,
Right.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, holograms. Everybody get a hologram.
Right.
Or at least put them on the big screen and show them on the big screen and something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Ice Cube fan, so I was kind of hoping Ice Cube would make a special appearance, and they did an NWA song together. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers, right?
Right.
I'll take the win. So
baby steps for the NFL. Baby steps.
Right. Yeah, they couldn't go all. They probably the whole crash if all that happened. Well, before we jump in a little bit, intervene you. The Texans, you pay a lot of attention to. Are you a Texans fan, or I know you're from, you went to LSU. Are you a Saints fan?
Okay. Yeah, I got to. It's probably frowned upon, but I got to say one time, who that? So that is my team. But at the same time, I've been in Houston since 2008, and I've always said this, like, I'm a cheer for the home team, like I got so much crap, I don't know if it's PG-13 or what, but I'll say I got so much crap when I was growing up in Louisiana.
You could say shit.
Okay. But I got so, like, growing up in Louisiana, I was from Shreveport, which everyone else, if you're not from New Orleans, you call that East Texas. And they're like, oh, y'all Cowboy fans. That's not Louisiana. And I was always like, but it's Shreveport, Louisiana. So I was always so confused. I'm like, that's my home team, the Saints. And so coming into Houston, that's still the same thing for me. Like Cowboys, non-existent. I hated the Cowboys, growing up in the 90s with with the it was always 49ers and Cowboys. That was a rivalry from us then. We had Terrell Owens, J.J. Stokes, Steve Young, going against the Cowboys. I still remember T.O.'s catch when he started crying, caught that against I want to say Green Bay, I think, right? And then so I've always hated the Cowboys. And so coming to Houston, I've always had love for the Texans, particularly when, of all people, Matt Schaub won me my fantasy league. And so he didn't do much else, but he won me my fantasy league. So he always has respect in my book.
That must have been 2009 when he won that fantasy league for you.
And that's the year you took like 4,800, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
you you can't have them all. Arian Foster always won mine. I made sure I had him on no matter what. He was my first pick. But
Yeah.
So what do you think of the Lovie Smith hire?
I like it. If I can be real though, I'm just hoping that it's not a move by them to try to save face or something again. Because again, it looked like they were going McCown route, and I don't know if pressure or things or with the lawsuit, Brian Flores. I don't know. I don't know if they start second guessing themselves or something. But I think he's a good hire, and I just hope they put him in a position to succeed. And I hope we're not having the same conversation next year, more interviews and McCown, and so I like the hire. I just hope the intentions behind it are good and they set them up for success.
I agree. With you having legal background, did that Brian Flores lawsuit hurt his chances, or do you think it didn't matter?
Did it hurt? Did it hurt Brian? Did it hurt whose chances?
Brian Flores' chances.
Oh, I mean, I definitely think he's going to be facing that same kind of blackballing possibility as Kaepernick. If I'm honest, like I don't have just full disclosure. I've never done anything outside of criminal law, so I've taken classes and such like that. But that's definitely not my wheelhouse when I talk about civil rights or discrimination lawsuits. But I mean, I think he set himself up in a position where, we might be having the same conversation. Kaepernick hasn't played it down ever since he took a position. And so, if you're an owner of a team and, you got this guy who's not going to be a puppet, who's going to voice his opinion. Because, I mean, he should be coaching right now, right? Like there are a lot of openings. He should be coaching right now. And so, he's not. And so, it is what it is, I mean, you look at the evidence and you draw your conclusions. And so, but props to him though, because that's not an easy thing to do, to go against the Shield like that, so props to him.
But do you think what he did is going to hurt other minority coaches in the future?
I think so. I mean, so I think it will still, I think it will definitely get the look. It will get minority coaches the look. And I think it will give them a more serious look because they know they're under the microscope. And I'm hopeful that with that more serious look, even though it may start off as just to comply with the Rooney Rule, that maybe, right, this may be just the optimist in me, but maybe, okay, oh, this guy really, is good. This guy really can do something. And so I'm hoping that if nothing else, it puts the minority coaches under a microscope that then turns out to be something like, wow, we should have been doing this years ago. Because right now, right, the thing is the young, the McVays, the Cliff Kingsbury, whatever, that's like the thing, but it's always that same kind of look, and I think there are other coaches, and so I mean, if anything, right, Sean McVay winning the Super Bowl might hurt more, right? Because it's like, oh, that's where we need to go,
Yeah, go young.
The weird thing is, out of all the coaches that Brian Flores, Gannon, O'Connell from the Rams, and McCown was the oldest one being interviewed. I didn't know that.
But, I didn't know that either. So you said that.
Yeah, you would think he'd be the youngest, but he was actually the oldest. But I'm glad you brought up the Rooney Rule. Do you think it needs to be edited or taken away or kept the same?
Man, I think the intentions behind it for sure are good. I think, right? I mean, as far as I know,
in theory, it's a great idea. Right.
Exactly. In theory, but once Flores spoke out, you had all these other coaches, Marvin Lewis, I think, and others spoke out. And so I think it just brought attention to what everybody knew in terms of that people are being brought in for, just to comply with the rule. And so the thing is, I think it's good, but I don't know. I don't have the idea in terms of how you put some teeth behind it, right? Like, I don't know how you do it in a way in that it's actually going to achieve the goal. And so I think it needs to stay, but I just think someone smarter than me needs to figure out a way to put some teeth behind it, and that we get some quality interviews. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what the coaches have wanted, like a real seat at the table, And if you go somewhere else with another choice, okay, that's cool. But we want an actual opportunity to be heard and be considered, because you get these retread coaches. I mean, my God, how many jobs did Jeff Fisher get out of taking Tennessee to one Super Bowl? I mean,
Yeah.
like, and so, but that would never happen to someone with a little darker hue, and so.
Right. Well, I mean, Adam Gase, that's a perfect example, I get it. Kind of moving on before we get into the good stuff. Deshaun Watson, do you want him to be traded? Do you want him to stay?
So my thing with Deshaun Watson, dude is a hell of a player. I mean, so here, I'll just be straightforward, right? Y'all mentioned earlier what I do. I'm a criminal law attorney and such like that. And one thing, if nothing else, that we're bound by is that anytime you want to have an allegation, you need to be ready to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. From what I've seen in the media, I don't have any personal knowledge or anything like that. I want to be clear about that. But just from what I've seen in the media, headlines and such, it doesn't sound like it's there, right? And so if it's not there, then, we have a constitution in place for a reason. You're presumed innocent. The state has the burden. If it hasn't been proven, then, is not guilty. Now, if the evidence is there, they need to present it and move forward, because obviously these are serious allegations. And so victims need to be heard. People need to be heard. But at least what I don't like is that it's being played in the media as oftentimes with some of these cases, and being played in the court of public opinion, And so, again, I don't do civil stuff because I know there's civil lawsuit pending and such. And but at the end of the day, yes, he's a great player. If there's evidence that he was improper behavior and such like that, then he needs to be properly reprimanded. But what is not fair, right, for the victims or for him, is this limbo situation, and that's sometimes what is created by just the nature of our laws and such. And so, he's not able to make a living. Victims aren't able to get closure. And so, what's not fair to anybody is the limbo that's going on.
Okay. Well, with that being said, do you want him to stay on the Texans, or do you want them to trade him?
I think I want to know more of what the evidence actually is, I think. I mean, because if you say that accusation is enough to get someone, traded, I don't know if that's the direction that we as a society want to go. The accusation by itself is definitely, I think, enough, especially in the case, from what I understand, there's multiple accusers and stuff. So I think it's definitely merits, all right, let's put a pump the brakes. Let's try to get this situation going. But at the end of the day, at the same time, as an athlete, right, they have a window in terms of when they can reach their max, their max ability or their max effort that they can give to a team and such. And so just keeping them in limbo like that, I don't think it's fair to anybody. So do I want him on the team as a Texan fan? Yes, right, because I want the Texans to be in a position to succeed. But outside of that, I would say it's too early for me to say, because I don't have all the information,
Gotcha. All right. Chris, before we get into the interview, you have a question for him involving the Texans?
No questions involving Texans. Because pretty much hit on the Deshaun thing. I wanted to hear his take on that, and pretty much said what I thought I was going to say, because we all need more evidence. We just assuming right now. Nobody knows if he's innocent or guilty. So, like you say, he's innocent until proven guilty, and I think he has a court next week. So we're going to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, so it's important to keep in mind that there's a difference between the civil lawsuits and any potential criminal cases, which, as far as I know, that's not even existent right now. It's only in the civil courts. And so it's important, that because we hear it all the time, and it's one thing that comes up in my job, and it's one thing that comes up on the campaign trail, running for judge, is that the state at the end of the day has a burden, and that burden is you need to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. If you have it, then great, and there's venues and way for our system to go and do that, whether it's through a jury trial or plead guilty or such. But at the same time, the law is clear that accusations do not make you guilty. You still have the presumption of innocence. And so it's important just to remember that. But at the same time, it's important to remember that none of us, myself, and as far as I know, you all, nobody has the facts of the case. And so it's very easy to jump to the side, one or the other, based on what we hear in the news. But it's important to remember the news does not always necessarily get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. When it comes to Son, it is the way he, I wouldn't say handled the situation, but last year when the Texans said, "Hey, we need you," he kind of said, "Well, too bad, so sad." Kind of turned his back on us. So to me, you turn your back on me as a fan, me as a as a Houstonian, like I'm good, man. Like
deuces.
Yeah, we'll see you later. Thank you, but no, thank you. Like why support you when kind of like I always tell everybody, why would I stick around with a woman who cheated on me? Turn her back on me. So I just have to.
That's real. Yeah.
I wish him the best of luck. I hope this is not true because like you said, it's a horrible accusation, and I hope it's not true. Not just for his sake, but for the the victims, because it's terrible. So
because that's the thing too. Just again, if I may, I feel like I'm talking so much, but like that's the thing too. So even if at the end of the day that a case can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever, or someone's acquitted or not liable, there still can be victims, right? Just because something isn't proven doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen. And so I think it's important to make sure that that's not lost in everything, because you have a number of people who have come out and signed, sworn affidavits and such, right? And so a lot of times people think, oh, not guilty, so they were liars or something. Like, no, just because, this the law can be very nuanced and complicated at times. And sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And this is me even as a lawyer now for 8 years or so. But I got a question for you all. I feel like I'm family now. I got a question for you all.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Davis Mills, what do y'all think?
Money Mills. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Money Mills. Okay.
Money Mills. Yeah. I'm ready. Right. We're in the rebuild. We won 4 games with Deshaun, and we won 4 games without Deshaun. So why not give this guy a chance? At the end of the season, he showed what he can do somewhat. Give him a full season. Give him the reps with the number 1. Give him some options. Build around him for 1 year. And if you like it, stay with it. If you don't, see you later.
Fair enough.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I call him Katie Mills.
The big difference there, Money Mills, Katie Mills.
Yeah, I call him Katie Mills. Yeah, give him a shot, but I'm a big believer on competition. I still think you need to bring somebody in here that's going to push him. Just don't hand it to him. He needs some competition in there, because I don't want to get complacent. So, but we're gonna see. But I got a question that came in my head on the Deshaun thing before I forget. If he settles, is that a good thing or a bad thing from your expertise?
Oh man, if he settles, so usually, again, so just to be clear, I've never handled a single civil case in my life. I've only handled criminal cases, and so if someone's watching, they might be able to email and say he's all wrong. Okay, possibly, right? From my understanding, those settlements, especially in a case like this, is usually going to come with a non-disclosure, right? And so there's going to be details that you or I will never be privy to, and such. And so my lay opinion, because for this purpose I am having a lay opinion, is that could probably be a good thing, but just because if nothing else, it means it's behind him. We won't know the details of what was agreed upon or anything like that. And so I think if nothing else, it could be a good thing because it will be behind him. It will be done. How did Roethlisberger sing? And I can't remember right now, but we know Big Ben, is not a stranger to similar allegations. And, when he retired at the end of the season, he was getting fanfare and applause and stuff like that. Kobe, RIP, went on to have a great career. Unfortunately, after his death, some of that kind of resurfaced and such and everything like that. And so, but previous athletes have shown, that there's, life, for lack of better words, after these allegations and after these cases resolve one way or another.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm glad you tied that in. That's very good. Very good example of those two. Especially Kobe. He had a great career after when everybody thought it was over with. So he's a true GOAT. Well, let's get into it. I got a question for you. Okay. How are you fit for the bench? Hashtag fit for the bench.
There we go. Okay, you got it on the screen and everything. So I'm even wearing the shirt, right? Fit for the bench, everything.
There you go.
So fit for the bench, man. That's something I came up with when I was on the campaign trail, and I'm pretty sure I was like working out one day, just because that's like my go-to, my jam. Like whenever that's just what I do. And so I was trying to think about a good way to describe me, but at the same time, appropriate and fun, like to encapsulate who I am. And so I came up with that because bench press was always like my thing. But beyond that, I just think that it comprises everything that I want to be as a judge. Because I think to be a judge, you need to be physically fit. I think just because there are long hours, there are long days, so you want to be in good health just in general in life, but you also need to be mentally fit. You need to be sharp. You need to know the law. I think you need to be spiritually fit, right? Because you're making decisions that impact lives every day, and you don't want to take that lightly. And so when I say fit for the bench, I mean mind, body, soul, the whole thing. And so I think I'm that. I think I'm that just because I put in the work to be that way. I put in the necessary reps, right, for the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect. And if you look at my resume and such like that, I think it supports that with my community involvement, my time as a teacher, my work with my church, and again, obviously, like even the physical aspect. I've competed in a number of physique shows and things of that nature, like the NPC National Physique Competition shows. And so I just think it's about being fit all around.
Okay. Well, that's deep too. I mean, you're right. You got to be mentally there. No lies. You do affect lives every day. So that's really deep.
Because mental health is real. And so one of the things, not to get too far, is that one thing that my opponent brags about is that he's never taken a day off in the 3 years or so that he's been on the bench, which is great and all, but I'm a big proponent of mental health. And I think I know mental health is real. And so one thing that I would do is make sure that between myself and my staff, that mental health is being, that we're cognizant of it and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, right, whether it's him, me, something was to happen to one of us, Lord, God forbid, there's going to be somebody else in my spot, his spot, that next day taking our spot. And so I can't do the citizens of Harris County any good if I'm, working myself to the bone and everything, and I'm not in any type of shape to make a decision. I don't need to be making decisions tired or sleepy and things of that nature. And so I'm a big proponent of mental health, because I think we just look around society and see the realness of mental health. There's a stigma for years, but now it's finally starting to get the attention it deserves, and the benefits of therapy and things like that are finally being recognized. And so that's part of being fit for the bench.
Oh, dude, that's That's legit. I like it. I like it. So tell us some ways that service impacts. I mean, me and Crenshaw are big about the Houston community. We love it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
tell us what impacts our community.
yeah. So I think being involved, like and being active in it, I think that's how you have the community impacted. Because at the end of the day, Harris County, we want leaders who have a real concern and a real care for the community. And we see it every time. We see it every 4 years. We see the Hillary Clintons or whoever, whatever party you want to decide. They go to the church, and they shake hands, take pictures, and things of that nature. But it's clear though, if you talk to the people in actual communities in Third Ward, Fifth Ward, Acres Homes, I had a conversation with someone today, and just about we want people who are there when the cameras are on as well as when the cameras are off, right? And so the way I think that service impacts our community is this is the best example I can think of. And again, it happened today. I'm a mentor with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Greater Houston. And my little brother that I have, I've been with him for about 3 years. So well before I decided to run for office or anything of that nature. You know who, outside of my fiance, who the biggest supporter on my campaign has been? It has been his grandmother and his mother. They are
Mm.
all about my campaign. And the reason why I believe is because they know me. They know my heart. They know that this is not some facade that I'm trying to put on to try to get votes, right? They know for themselves. And so when they talk to their friends and their family members and their church members and their community members, they're coming from a place of personal knowledge. They're not saying what they saw on some card or what they heard on some ad. They're saying that this is what he's done for me and my family. And I think if we could apply that to a larger scale, right? If we had more community leaders having that kind of impact, then just imagine, because that's going to lead to unity and working together because it's very divisive right now. But that's one way you unify when you actually have people working together for a common cause in the community. And there's so many things in our communities that we can rally to get behind if we just so chose to do that.
Oh yeah, man, that's some good stuff there. Because you're right. A lot of what you're saying. A lot of people put show for the camera,
Yeah.
especially no. Hopefully, politicians. They always in front.
Mhm.
When it's time. Hey, let me kiss that baby. But when the camera's off, they,
Yeah.
they
Even
pull the
during
Derrick
COVID,
Henry
like,
on that baby. They pull the Derrick Henry on that baby and just stiff arm him. So you're
do
right.
the
Right.
Heisman on that.
Right. So, talking about politicians, we all know every vote counts.
Yeah.
So, tell me, how important are the local elections?
Yeah. I mean, so anyone who's been paying attention, if you paid attention to this local or this last legislative session, you'll see that in Austin, seemingly at least, they're trying to stop certain groups from voting, that they're trying to restrict certain groups from voting. And the only reason that that would be seemingly is that voting must have some type of power, right? If there
Mhm.
is concern, and this isn't a red or blue issue, I'm just saying, generally speaking, if there is concern about more people voting and then trying to decrease the number of people voting, then that must inherently mean that voting has power, that voting means something. And so you have certain groups who have power, who see their power being questioned or in danger, and they want to take that voting power from other groups because it puts their power in jeopardy. And so the way you prevent that is honestly through these local elections. It's great to vote for the president. I mean, obviously, I voted in presidential elections ever since I became of age. But it's the local elections that hit the people more, right? You want to talk about
Mhm.
your funding because of Hurricane Harvey, or you want to talk about how do we fix the grid? You want to talk about what's being taught in your schools. This is all going to be your school board elections, your city council elections, your mud districts, like all these different things. That is where those things are actually happening and taking place. And you want to talk about how do you hold those elected officials accountable? well, you're going to have a better chance of holding someone at Bagby Street accountable or someone at Hattie May accountable as opposed to someone in Washington, D.C., who spend most of their time in Washington, D.C., and only come to Houston in and out of season. You're going to be able to hold these people accountable because they're actually in your community. And if they're not, that's the first red flag for you in the first place. And so the local elections is how you see the change happen because it starts at the ground level. It's a grassroots thing. And if you look at even like President Obama started grassroots level because that is the heart of everything. Local politics is where it starts.
That's I mean, somebody get cars going off, but
yeah, all right, yeah, that's over here. That's over here.
No worries.
Oh, there you
go. You're right. I mean, that is the best way to hold somebody accountable. I mean, if you don't like them, don't vote for them, right? I mean, that's
right.
the best way to make change, especially when it comes to school district and stuff like that. Chris,
speaking of like accountability and community, okay, how can we stop? Okay, you know the guy that shot his girlfriend 22 times. How can we stop those guys from getting bonds? Like, why did he didn't stay in jail the whole time? How did he get a bond? You shot this girl 22 times.
Yeah, so that's kind of the question of this election, right? Like it's questions like that or that same line of thinking that I get asked the most on the campaign trail. And so first, just in case anybody's listening, so the court that I'm running for is a misdemeanor court. So obviously that case, that is a felony type case. That would be in a district court, not in a county court. And so I wouldn't be presiding over that. However, as y'all mentioned before, I am a felony prosecutor. And so I do handle these type of cases. And so I have experience with it. And so I'll say this. The short answer is that it's about the Constitution, if I'm honest. Earlier, like I mentioned, when I said the news doesn't always get things right, this is in some ways, this is one of those examples. So for the most part, people are constitutionally entitled to a bond. That's just what our Constitution says. It's the 8th Amendment, and it's been accepted or adopted by the states and such. And so in Texas, there are a limited number of circumstances in which someone can be held without a bond. And what happens a lot of times that we hear these egregious facts and just the human nature in us, just our gut instinct is like, okay, well, we judge them guilty, and then we say that person needs to be locked up. But the Constitution then comes in and says whether it's a Class C speeding ticket or whether it's capital murder or aggravated assault, like in that case or something, the person is still entitled to a reasonable bond. And the law states what factors should be considered when setting that bond. And so unless the proper evidence is given in the right case in which a defendant can be held at no bond, then legally speaking, that defendant is held to be at is entitled to a bond. And so I'll just give you, for example, if a defendant has been to prison twice, went to prison, got out, went to prison, got out, and then they're charged with a third-degree felony or higher, that could be a case where the state, if they so choose to, could then ask the judge to hold that defendant at no bond. But even then, there are a number of different things the state may choose not to for strategic reasons. The judge may think that the state didn't meet its burden, but that's just one of maybe 4 or 5 different 6 examples. And it's different when a defendant is already on bond and you're trying to get his bond revoked and held at no bond versus a defendant is brand new charge and you're trying to get them held at no bond from day one. So it's a lot of legalese there. So to answer your original question, it's a combination of things. It's a combination of people trying to abide by the law, and then just sometimes the state choosing not to ask for a hearing. I know that's a lot. That was like a whole little.
Hey, that stuff I'm taking in. That's knowledge right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like that old PBS show, the more you know. So I mean, knowledge is power. So
I'll say this much. I'll say this much. Like, there's a lot of finger pointing going on. There's a lot of blaming going on. And I will say this: it's not like a one-way street. It's not all prosecutors, not all defense attorneys, not all judges. I think the entire system could do better. And it may sound cliche, but it's real. Prosecutors need to make sure in appropriate cases and appropriate circumstances that they're asking for hearings. Judges, when hearing that cases and having those hearings, they need to be properly considering the evidence. And so I just think as a whole, the entire criminal justice system needs to work better at it, and which also may mean that some laws possibly could need to be changed because some of the laws are kind of antiquated. They didn't have in mind the voluminous discovery that exists on cases these days. They weren't created with that in mind. They weren't created with all the digital evidence that can come from a cell phone. And so some of the laws are antiquated and probably are at least worth looking at being revisited.
I mean, yeah, technology is getting better every day, so that's legit. All right, man. Well, tell us how can we help you win? All right.
Now, that's a question I love. So, Harris County, early voting has already started. All right, today was day 3 of early voting. I get the numbers each day, and people have been turning out, but I would love to see more people turning out in general just to vote. But early voting is the time to do it, in my opinion, because you can vote anywhere in Harris County. So any given day, I might be at Acres Home, I might be at West Gray, I might be at Sunnyside, Bayland. I was at there yesterday. And anywhere in Harris County, if you're a registered voter, you can vote anywhere at those locations from February 14th all the way through February 25th, because that's the early voting period. But if for some reason, you run out of time or you're not able to do it, then March 1st is election day. That's your absolute last day. And on March 1st, though, you can only vote at your assigned polling location. And so if any of that, you're unsure about, you got questions about Harris County, you go to harrisvotes.com, harrisvotes.com. It can give you your polling location. It can help you figure out it can give you a sample ballot, so that way you can already know what to vote for. And you can take that sample ballot with you inside the polling booth. So you can already have on there Jarrell Rogers, County Criminal Court 14. You could take that piece of paper with you because you can't take your phone. So you're not gonna be in your phone, doing it for the gram, taking a picture of your ballot and stuff like that. But you can take your ballot though. So harrisvotes.com. And so February 14th,
TikTok or anything like that, huh?
Nah, yeah, no TikTok and none of that, because we Texas will prosecute you for voter fraud. They will prosecute you. So don't do that, people. Don't do that.
Yeah, we do here on the Texas Fan Battle Podcast. We do not condemn. Do not break the law. Condone.
Yeah.
So, well, man, Drew, it was great having you on. Before we go, we always do like a hot take of the next game. Well, now we have the off season. So tell me, what do you think is like a hot take, a prediction, a bold take? What do you think is going to happen for I'll let you do either team, the Saints or the Texans. What's your hot take?
Okay, that's easy. So I would say for the Saints, I'm gonna go with Saints. I think Saints going to take not one. I think Saints going to take 2 steps back. You lose to Sean Payton. You still don't have a solid quarterback play. I'm not a big fan of the new hire. I think Bruce Allen, right? I'm not. So I think they're gonna take some steps back. And I think Who Dat Nation is going to be. There's going to be some growing pains. I mean, it's not like, from what I saw at least, that their defense was their strong suit this year, or really anytime really under McVay. Under Payton, outside of Bounty Gate season, allegedly. Right. But so I thought it was a questionable hire. But again, I'm not a GM, so there's people that make more money than me and analytics and such like that. So I'm hopeful that maybe I'm just missing the picture there, but I think it's going to be some growing pains for the Saints.
Well, speaking of New Orleans, I live up here in Kansas City. Sadly, I hate it, But April 29th, they have a No Limit tour. So I'm going to be seeing Master P and the No Limit.
Really?
Yes, sir. With 3-6 Mafia and Bone Thug. So I'm excited. Mid School is going to be there. So it's going to be. I'm glad I'm getting to see it because the halftime show, made me more excited about it. So
I love it.
Yeah, me too. Well, Christoph, before we bounce, you have any other questions you would like to ask?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. What was the difference between Notre Dame and LSU?
Oh man, there we go. All right, the hard hitting questions, man. So, man, I don't know. So, okay, both love their football, right? While I was at both schools went to national championship. Both schools got annihilated by Alabama when I was there. The tailgating, okay, that's gonna be a difference. LSU, I thought Notre Dame tailgates, especially being a Catholic school. I'm not Catholic or anything, but I thought being there, I was just surprised how hard they went. But then when I got to LSU, it's just a whole different level, right? Like brats and stuff, that's cool and everything now, okay, that's cool. You got your bratwurst and everything, or your sauerkraut, that's all nice and stuff. But then going to LSU, you got your gator, you got the Cane's chicken strips, you got your gumbo, your etouffee, your jambalaya, you got the girls, the SEC crowd in their sundresses and stuff like that. Like there was nothing like Death Valley. And so my Notre Dame friends, if they hear this, this might be blasphemy in their books, but man, a game in Death Valley at night and how loud that crowd was, particularly an SEC game. I mean, man, like there's nothing like it. And so, and also too, the weather tends to be better. So I'm not a big fan of the cold weather. And so it's they're both amazing in their own respects. But LSU is just a whole different level of craziness. Also, too, for whatever it's worth, Notre Dame didn't allow alcohol in the stadium, so that's probably why we're not as loud as, So,
all right.
Okay. So, who food is better, Louisiana or Houston?
Oh, okay. I thought you saying. I thought you saying or Notre Dame. Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta go. I gotta go. Probably Houston on that one. Honestly, like so. I love my gumbo and stuff like that. But you may disagree with me if you're in Kansas City, but the Texas barbecue.
Yeah. I'm from Houston, and I can't stand Kansas City barbecue.
Okay. All right. So I'm in the same place. Okay. Yeah. Barbecue, the whole working out and stuff and the gains and the protein, So I particularly love, I live pretty close to Truth barbecue. And that's some truth right there for real. Yeah. So it's a perfect name for it. And so, because of barbecue probably alone, if I'm honest, I'll probably say Houston.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. True. Yeah, I like Southern Q and Burns.
Burns is good too. Too. Yeah. And then in the sides too and everything. And so for me also too, like I need a place that's gonna have some good sweet tea to go with it. Like sweet tea is my weakness. It always has been. And that was one thing Notre Dame didn't even have. I remember first time I went to a restaurant, like one of the first times I asked for sweet tea, and they were like, we got sugar. And I'm like, oh, that's not the same. He's like, you don't get it. Like, I'm about to drop some knowledge on you. It's not the same. Just put some sugar and some cold iced tea, So, but yeah.
All right.
Okay. How old was you when you first started ushering? Because I grew up in the church, and that's what I was doing. I was ushering. So how old were you when you first started?
So at the current church that I go to, which is also over here in the Rice Military area, that was about 3 years ago. So I would have been like 30, like 32 or something like that. But yeah, if I'm talking about like back at home, in Greenwood, Louisiana, right outside of Shreveport, I I was in like drill team and stuff like that, Bible quiz bowl, and all that stuff. So that would have been like around age 13 and 14 and stuff. And around about 15 or 16 or so, probably, I was actually in charge of doing my church's order of services. Little program that you get every week.
Mm-hmm.
I was typing it up on my family's IBM Aptiva in Microsoft Word every week. And I was doing that like around 15 or 16. And so actively involved in church, Sunday school superintendent growing up. That probably started like around age 12, 13.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You gotta love the church life. So.
Oh man, mom wasn't going to have it any other way. My mom was president. She still is actually president of the Pastors Aid Committee back at home, and so many a Sunday, 9:30 Sunday school, 11 o'clock regular service, 2 o'clock church anniversary or pastor's anniversary. Then revival might be going on that week. You might be back at 6 o'clock. And so it was long days. But it made it. I'm better for it if I'm honest. Because. Again, I talk a lot about community on the campaign trail, and that's kind of where it was instilled in me. Everybody knew everybody. It's one of those small country churches kind of thing. Everybody, oh, that's your cousin's uncle, brother, like that. You talk to the little older sisters of the church, and they know everybody. They know everything that's happening, and they drop the knowledge on you too. And so I loved it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, mom was always good for you. They always teach you the things you never think you would know. Like when I first moved up here in the Kansas area, my mom said, "Hey, now, son, they talk like you don't. Like it's a totally different atmosphere." I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I came up here, like they didn't say ma'am, they didn't say sir, they didn't open up doors. So I was like,
right,
completely not to this day. Like people like, "Hey, don't call me ma'am." Like I can't because I have a fear of my mom's finger coming from behind and thump me back in the head. So I'm calling you. I don't care if you like it or not. I'm calling you, ma'am, sir. But it's respect. So I get it. Yeah, people down in Texas take it for granted, or the South period. They take it for granted because, like I said, you come up here, and a lot of places don't. They just don't have the that common respect for.
Yeah, that's a quick way to get backhanded. Doing that mess in church.
Quick.
Yeah.
My mom was she's about 6 foot and pretty tall for a woman, and she had hands. I'm talking about. I mean, it looked like she could cover my whole face, and her fingers. When she flicked me, I mean, I can hear it from a mile away. I'm doing this number, so I felt like getting hit with the switch back in my head. So. I'll make sure. Well, Chris, I got you. Yeah, you got anything else, Chris?
No, man. That's about it right there. I mean, it was like great talking to you. It's good to see a brother, running for something positive, and trying to do positive stuff for the community. Because what you said, being in the community. See, I like that. That means a lot to me right there. So definitely get my vote.
I appreciate it. And so if I can, I got to make one plug. I've learned that.
Go ahead, plug it.
Shameless plug. So, two things. So one, for my Harris County or my Houston people, or even if you're nearby, this Saturday, in line with the whole Fit for the Bench thing, we're having a boot camp at O Athletic. It's over on Shepherd. But you can go to my Instagram, which is going to be the second plug. You can go to my Instagram and see the flyer, get more information, and you can message me or email me to get to RSVP, just so we can have a good number. That being said, I would love for anyone listening to give me a follow. Instagram is Jerell, JERELL, the number 4, Judge, at Jerell4Judge. Sorry. Instagram is at Jerell4Judge. My website is JerellForJudge.com. But go out there, check it out. There's a flyer on there. You'll see. I'm the guy without my shirt off. He's like, "Oh my God, you're running for judge. You got a picture of yourself without the shirt." He's like, "Whatever. I want people to come and work out." And so there's no fee for it. We're taking donations, but there's no fee for it. You want to come and just work out, come get a good sweat. But this dude, he's the former strength coach for the Texans. For the Raiders and for the Saints. His name is Phil, and so I would love for y'all to be out there. But Jarrell for Judge, that's where that's at. This Saturday, 11 a.m. O Athletic.
You hear the guy. Come on, get out there. You know, if he's getting fit, you gotta get fit too. So, you know, you gotta get it right. So, well, Jarrell, other than your Instagram, Jarrell for Judge, do you have any other social medias we can follow you at?
So Jarrell for Judge, that's the Instagram, that's the Facebook. I ain't gonna lie, that's my Twitter too, but I never really post on there. I never got into Twitter as much, and so you'll see like a few posts on there. But if you really want to know what's happening, Jarrell for Judge, Facebook, Instagram, go to the website jarrellforjudge.com. That's the best way, and then it's all there.
Okay, Crenshaw. Everybody probably knows where they can find you. Again, where can I find you at?
You can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw.
All right, and I finally changed.
Finally, it's about
time. I had this Twitter name canceled Tim Kelly because Tim Kelly was a gosh awful coordinator. So Crenshaw has been telling me for months to change it. So I changed it today. It's A1 Day One Texans. So make sure you follow me and Crenshaw. Most definitely follow Jarrell. Jarrell, like you said earlier, man, feel like part of the family. So when you win, you gotta come on here and we gotta celebrate, brother.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. First time, but hopefully not the last time. I love to be back. If nothing else, just talking sports, man. It's cool just to have this conversation, just kicking and such. And so it's a good change of pace and just lighthearted talk and fun talk. So I appreciate y'all having me. I'm here for it. Let's do it again.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Hey, guys, again, March 1st is the deadline. So make sure you get out there. If you want change in the community, if you want a guy who's involved, his hashtag says it all. He's fit for the bench. So make sure you go vote. It's very important. So until then, guys, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.